Hello friends, how's it going? Usually when we talk about horror, we're dealing with a single killer in a mask or a ghost in the attic. But today we're looking at a world that is much more terrifying because the entire environment and every move you make is being live streamed and manipulated by a secret human organization. We are diving deep into the 2011 meta-horror masterpiece, The Cabin in the Woods. Imagine going on a weekend getaway only to find out that the creepy gas station guy was on the payroll, the cabin walls are wired with mood-altering gas, and there's a secret underground facility betting on which monster is going to rip you apart. It's a world where the ritual is the law, the ancient ones are hungry for blood, and the human factions behind the scenes are more cold-blooded than the creatures they keep in glass boxes. We're going to break down this story in exhaustive detail and find the survival logic points needed to beat a system that has literally rigged the game against you. Let's head into the woods. The story kicks off with 5 college friends getting ready to travel to a remote cabin for a weekend of fun. We are introduced to our main characters: Dana, the virgin; Kurt, the jock; Jules, the blonde; Holden, the scholar; and Marty, the fool. They hit the road immediately in their RV. As they drive deeper into the wilderness, Marty is the one pointing out that their GPS has lost its signal. Instead of being worried, he jokes that it's a good thing. It means they can truly enjoy nature without the distractions of the modern world. They eventually pull over at a dilapidated gas station to fill up the tank. The owner, an unsettling man known as the Harbinger, eventually appears. When they ask for directions to the cabin, the owner reveals he knows exactly which place they mean. He's seen people come and go from there. However, he provides a chilling riddle. They might have enough gas to get to the cabin, but they won't have enough to get back. The group laughs off his riddles and heads back onto the road, passing through a massive dark tunnel that carves right through the mountain. They finally arrive at the cabin, a rustic lakeside structure buried deep in the mountains, surrounded by nothing but trees and silence. It feels completely cut off from civilization, making it feel like the rest of the world has simply disappeared. As the group starts to unload their gear, they have no idea that they are standing right on top of a massive underground facility. Would this be the safest place in the woods? Let's find out. The moment you lose communication with the outside world, your risk level triples. Marty sees the lack of GPS as a way to connect with nature, but in a world of predators, a dead phone is a death sentence. If you encounter traps, you must recognize that the dead zone is usually engineered. If your tech stops working the second you head towards a remote location, that's your cue to turn the RV around and find a spot with at least 2 bars of 4G. Don't wait for the monsters to show up before you realize you're cut off. The human faction behind the scenes is legally bound by the ancient ones to give the victims a chance to turn back. That's why the gas station owner warned them about the gas. To surpass the system, you have to listen to the logic of the one-way trip. If someone tells you that you can get in but you can't get out, believe them. The tunnel they passed through was the point of no return. The moment they crossed that threshold, the facility sealed the exit. When a local tells you that you're on a one-way road to a remote cabin, that's not atmosphere, that's a survival tip. Take the hint and keep driving until you find a gas station that sells snacks. Deep underground, we meet Hatley and Sitterson, the 2 management engineers who run the show. They are the architects of this nightmare, casually drinking coffee and chatting about mundane things. We learn that this isn't just a local operation, it's a global ritual. They mention the Japan branch is currently having a lot of success with their own session, involving a group of schoolgirls and a vengeful spirit. It's a chilling reminder that the entire world is participating in this blood sacrifice to keep the ancient ones asleep. In the main control room, we are introduced to Daniel, a new security recruit who is still learning the ropes. He's watching as Sitterson and Hadley activate the hundreds of hidden cameras they've placed inside the cabin. They confirm that the feed is live and the world is watching. Suddenly, the phone rings. It's the Harbinger from the gas station. His tone is formal and ritualistic. He tells them, the lambs have passed the gate, they've come to the killing floor. He warns that the group has no idea what horrors are coming for them. For the facility staff, this is just another day at the office. Back at the cabin, the group is trying to get comfortable. Holden is in his bedroom and feels an immediate sense of dread from a disturbing painting on the wall. When he goes to take it down, he discovers something. A large two-way mirror that looks directly into the next room. He calls the others in to show them. While the group thinks it's incredibly creepy, Marty even jokes it would be a good room for interrogation. Kurt suggesting they should check the other rooms to make sure no one else is watching. Holden offers to switch rooms with Dana so she doesn't have to deal with the mirror. Donna agrees, and although she sees the creepy painting as well, she simply covers it with a blanket. To blow off some steam, the group decides to head down to the lake nearby for a dip, unaware that every splash and laugh is being analyzed by Sitterson and Hadley. Was this a stroke of a genius move? Let's take a closer look. You must realize that you aren't just fighting one killer, you're fighting a global infrastructure. The facility has branches in Japan, Stockholm, and Berlin. If you somehow escape the cabin, the system is designed to catch you elsewhere. The only way to win is to understand that the rules of horror movies are the laws of the facility. If you can break the archetype, you can break the machine. The facility uses subtle environmental cues and chemical pheromones to make you ignore your survival instincts. When Holden found that mirror, that should have been the moment they all got back in the RV. But because they were being nudged by the facility's gas system, they rationalized the danger. In this situation, you have to trust your first instinct. If you find a two-way mirror in a rental, don't swap rooms. Swap zip codes. While the five friends are settling upstairs, the atmosphere in the facility's control room is closer to a casino than a government office. Every department is putting down money on which monster the group will accidentally summon. Daniel watches in disbelief. He asks Sitterson if this is even legal to management, but Sitterson just shrugs it off like it's a fantasy football league. When they offer Daniel a spot in the pool, he flatly refuses. Once the board is filled and the money is on the table, the bets are locked and they are ready to get this party started. Back at the cabin, the group is trying to shake off the creepy vibes with a game of truth or dare. Marty kicks things off by daring Jules to kiss the mounted wolf head on the wall. Jules goes through with it, and the group applauds the weird, slightly gross moment. But the laughter is cut short when the cellar door in the middle of the floor suddenly slams open. The group is wondering if it was just the wind. Taking advantage of the tension, Jules dares Dana to be the one to go down and investigate by herself. Dana slowly descends into the darkness, scanning the room. She nearly jumps out of her skin when her light hits a creepy ancient photograph of a woman, but the rest of the group follows her down. The basement is a hoarder's paradise of nightmares, filled with music boxes, strange dolls, old weapons, and a circle puzzle device that Kurt immediately picks up. He starts fiddling with it, pushing a button that sets the internal gears in motion. Meanwhile, Dana finds an old leather-bound diary. As she flips through the pages, she finds a passage in Latin. Despite the overwhelming "don't do it" vibes, Dana begins to read the text aloud. As the words leave her lips, we cut to the woods outside. Deep in the soil, a clan of zombies begin to claw their way back to the surface. Back in the facility, the control room erupts in cheers. Sitterson announces that the maintenance team has won the bet. They've got their monsters. Daniel watches the screens, visibly shaken as he realizes the horror he's about to witness. Sitterson and Hadley don't even blink. They just start planning the next nudges to make sure the zombies get their first kill. Would there be a better way? Let's analyze. In horror movies and survival situations alike, the dare is a weapon. The facility uses social dynamics to force the group into the most dangerous areas. You have to be the person who says no. When a door to a dark murder basement slams open on its own, the survival move isn't to go down there alone. It's to board the door shut and sleep in the RV. If your friends are daring you to walk into a dark room, they aren't your friends. They're the facility's unwitting accomplices. This is the ultimate rule for any supernatural scenario. The basement was filled with triggers. If Kurt had solved the puzzle, they would have gotten the Hell Lord. By reading the diary, Dana essentially signed their death warrants. To beat a ritual, you have to leave the artifacts alone. If it's old, dusty, and written in a language you don't speak, put it down. Curiosity didn't just kill the cat, In the woods, it raises the dead. As night falls, Jules and Kurt decide to head out into the forest for some romantic night memories. It looks like a classic horror movie setup, but the camera pulls back to show us Sitterson and Hadley in the control room, acting like creepy stage managers. They aren't just observing, they are physically manipulating the forest. Hadley hits a switch to release a thick cinematic mist, and Sitterson adjusts the lighting to perfectly illuminate a dark part of the woods. While Jules and Kurt are in their moment, Jules is stabbed through the hand. Kurt charges at the zombie to protect her, but he's immediately stabbed in the back by another zombie. One of them whips a chained bear trap at Kurt and hooks a bear trap onto Jules' back, physically pulling her away. More zombies arrive, bringing a massive rusty saw. Despite Kurt's desperate attempts to reach her, the zombies use the saw to eliminate Jules. Back in the facility, Hadley pushes a level on a mechanical altar, and we see Jules' blood begin to drip into a stone basin. The first seal is broken. While the group has no idea on Jules' death, Marty heads outside to take a leak. A zombie is already sneaking up behind him. Kurt arrives just in time, shouting that they must run. Both retreats inside the cabin, and Kurt delivers the devastating news. Jules is gone. He tells everyone they need to barricade every door and window and says, no matter what happens, we have to stay together. But here is where the facility's archetype manipulation takes over. Despite the plan to stick together, the group's panic causes them to split up and run to their own individual rooms instead. Back in his room, Marty's paranoia finally pays off. He notices a small high-tech camera hidden in the wall. He realizes the horrifying truth. They are being watched live. But before he can warn the others, he is grabbed from the window behind him. He tries to smack the zombie, but it's no use. He runs, but the zombie throws a dagger, pinning him. Marty is dragged out of the camera's view, and the screen in the control room confirms his elimination. We see Marty's blood drip into the second ritual stone. Meanwhile, Dana is being hunted in her room. Holden smashes the glass to help her get through. They retreat into the basement, where Holden is suddenly hooked by a bear trap. Dana finds her inner survivor and stabs the creature dead. Kurt arrives, and the 3 remaining survivors manage to reach the RV. They race away from the cabin and towards the tunnel that leads to the outside world. Is this the ultimate survival move? Now let's review things so far. You have to realize that if the environment starts looking like a movie set, it's because it is one. The human faction is using the scenery to lure you into a killing zone. The moment the mist rolls in, your romantic night should be over. One of the biggest mistakes Kurt and Jules made was assuming they were dealing with standard, mindless zombies. To beat the zombies, you must treat them like a hostile militia. If a monster uses a tool, it means they have a plan. Your survival logic needs to shift from outrunning to counter-sieging. If you see a zombie with a bear trap, stop trying to punch it and start looking for a projectile. Inside the cabin situation, Kurt had the right idea, but the group failed the execution. In a survival situation involving a coordinated human faction, splitting the party is exactly what the enemy wants. It makes you easier to track, easier to isolate, and easier to kill. To beat the cabin, you must ignore the impulse to hide in your own safe space, and physically tether yourselves together if you must. When you break the stay together rule, you're just doing the facility's work for them. Marty's discovery of the camera is the most important survival move in the movie. To beat a rigged game, you have to find the game master. The moment you realize you're being watched, your goal changes from surviving the monsters to attacking the cameras. If Marty had managed to scream the truth to the others earlier, they might have stopped acting like characters in a movie and started acting like survivors in a cage. Back in facility, Sitterson and Hadley are hitting a major technical snag. The tunnel, which was supposed to cave in automatically to trap the group, isn't responding. Sitterson has to sprint down to the maintenance floor to manually fix the machinery. He manages to trigger the explosives just as the RV enters the tunnel. A massive blast halts the vehicle, leaving the 3 trapped at the edge of a massive cliff where the road has been severed. The 3 friends realize they are trapped. But Kurt believes that if he can jump his motorcycle across the ravine, he can reach the other side and find help. He backs up to get maximum momentum and flies into the air. But instead of landing, he smashes into an invisible wall in midair. The force field disintegrates his bike and sends Kurt plummeting to his death in the ravine below. Dinah and Holden watch devastated and utterly confused as Kurt's blood fills the third ritual stone. Do these characters have no luck from the start? The facility is a machine, and machines break. You have to wait for the glitch. If Sitterson hadn't fixed that maintenance issue, the group would have driven straight home. In any survival scenario against a human organization, look for the points of failure. The tunnel wasn't a natural obstacle, it was a mechanical one. If they had moved just 30 seconds faster, the glitch would have saved their lives. Kurt's death reveals the true nature of the woods. It's a dome. Kurt assumed the cliff was the boundary, but the boundary was in the sky. To survive in a boxed environment, you have to find the edges of the box before you commit to a leap of faith. Kurt's heroic move was exactly what the facility expected, and they used the environment to turn his bravery into his execution. After the devastating death of Kurt, they decide their only hope is to head back to the cabin and find a way through. While they are driving, Holden is stabbed in the neck by a zombie that was hiding inside the RV. The vehicle veers off the road and crashes directly into the lake. Donna manages to kick her way out and swims toward a dock, gasping for air. But a zombie is already there, looming over her. Inside the facility, Sitterson and Hadley are literally popping beers and celebrating. The team are laughing, smiling, and talking about how this has been one of their most successful sessions ever. They watch Dana struggle on the monitor like it's the end of a long, productive shift. But then, the red telephone rings. It's a call from upstairs. The Ancient Ones are not satisfied. The message is clear, Dana is not the only survivor. Just as the zombie is about to hit Dana with a chained bear trap, Marty appears onto the dock and knocks the creature down. He's alive and he's done playing the fool. They descend into the facility via elevator. Through the glass, they see a werewolf, then a ghost in the smoke, then a kid with an alien face and a man with spikes in his head holding the very puzzle cube Kurt almost solved. Dana finally figures it out. They are in a glass box prison. Every monster they saw is here, shelved like products in a warehouse. A security member tries to intercept them, but the guard is no match for two people who have nothing left to lose. Dana and Marty find their way into a control room protected by bulletproof glass. As security forces surround them, Dana looks at the console and sees the System Purge button. She activates the release and the monsters flood the hallways, ripping through the armed security teams and turning the high-tech facility into a buffet of blood and screams. The slaughter spreads to the main control room. Daniel is the first to go down in the chaos. Hadley brutally attacks by a merman. Sitterson manages to escape through a maintenance hatch below, but he crosses paths with Dana and stabs him. Sitterson bleeds out on the floor of his own facility. Dana and Marty eventually reach the ritual stone room. Here they meet the director. She explains the cosmic horror of their situation. The ritual requires 5 youths to die to appease the Ancient Ones, the dark gods who ruled the earth before humanity. If the Virgin doesn't kill the fool, the Ancient Ones will rise and destroy the world. The director tells Dana that she has to eliminate Marty for the sake of the human race. As Dana aims a gun at Marty, a werewolf attacks her from behind. Marty grabs the gun and shoots the beast. As he and the director fight over the weapon, a Buckner zombie hacks the director with an axe, and Marty pushes them both into the pit below. Donna and Marty, the last 2 humans left in the facility. They apologize to each other for the night they've had. The facility begins to shake violently, and as they hold hands, the ground beneath the cabin erupts. A massive, colossal hand of an Ancient One bursts through the floor, signaling the end of the world. Before we end, let's see if we can do things differently. To defeat a human faction that controls your environment, you have to look for the seams on the map. Marty didn't just survive, he found the secret hatch under the grave. Survival isn't just about outrunning the monster, it's about finding useful things. Once Marty and Dana enter that hatch, they transition from victims to glitches in the system. Dana and Marty realized they couldn't win a gunfight, so they let the monsters do the fighting for them. If the enemy has a weapon they think they control, your goal should be to make that weapon uncontrollable. By releasing the creatures, they turn the facility's greatest asset into its greatest liability. The director is using global extinction to blackmail Donna into eliminating. But Marty and Dana realize that if humanity requires a ritual like this to survive, maybe humanity is the monster. By refusing to kill each other, they aren't just failing a ritual, they're reclaiming their own agency. Survival isn't just about staying alive, it's about staying you. And that is how you beat, or at least how you break, the cabin in the woods. It's a haunting reminder that sometimes the only way to win a rigged game is to let the whole table cave in. Marty and Dana didn't survive the night, but they ensured that no one else would ever be a lamb on the killing floor again. Thanks for sticking with us through this massive horror breakdown on Bingexpress. If you enjoyed this look at the ultimate meta horror movie, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Let us know in the comments, would you have killed your friend to save the world, or would you have let the ancient ones rise like Dana and Marty? Stay smart, watch out for hidden cameras, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and binge another one.